Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Ashburn, Virginia, was buzzing with tension on Saturday afternoon in Week 16 of the NFL season as the Washington Commanders faced off against the Philadelphia Eagles in a matchup that had far more drama off the field than anyone could have anticipated. This was not just any game. It was the first contest since the shocking announcement that Jayden Daniels, the team's quarterback who had been expected to take on a leading role, would not make another appearance for the remainder of the season. Suddenly, the responsibility of guiding the offense fell entirely into the hands of veteran quarterback Marcus Mariota, a player whose experience and poise were now being put to the ultimate test. From the opening kickoff, Mariota commanded the huddle with his usual confidence, orchestrating plays and keeping the team within striking distance in a tight one-score game. But fate had other plans. On a critical play that could have swung momentum in Washington's favor, Mariota suffered a debilitating injury, hitting both his quad and throwing hand simultaneously, forcing him to leave the field and thrusting the Commanders into a chaotic situation that few teams ever hoped to encounter. The drama that unfolded in those moments was the kind of scenario that coaches prepare for only in theory, but rarely in practice, and it left everyone watching and managing the game scrambling for answers. When Josh Johnson stepped onto the field, he was entering a situation no quarterback dreams of: cold, unexpected, and high stakes. Johnson had not seen meaningful live action in quite some time, and the pressure was immense. Every snap, every drop back carried the weight of the team's playoff hopes, and the fans in the stands, as well as the staff in the booth, watched with a mixture of anxiety and admiration for his courage. But even as Johnson attempted to stabilize the offense, questions began swirling around Washington. What would happen if Johnson were to go down as well? Normally, teams in such situations might rely on players like receiver Luke McCaffrey or tight end Colson Yankoff, both of whom had prior experience at the quarterback position. It is a rare but invaluable skill for players to have versatility in a league as unforgiving as the NFL. Unfortunately for the Commanders, both McCaffrey and Yankoff were unavailable due to injuries or other circumstances, leaving a glaring hole in the contingency plan. The scenario was tense enough that even head coach Dan Quinn had to pause and acknowledge the absurdity of the situation. Such an interesting question, he admitted in a post-game press conference. So yes, Luke was of course one, and yes, Yankoff was another, but in the last game, there was no Yank or Luke. So, are you ready for the one that was going to be in the last one? Not quarterback's coach, David Blau, good guess. It was going to be an obviously working in some Wildcat receiver Jalen Lane. Jalen Lane, a young and versatile wide receiver, suddenly became the designated third emergency option, a player who had to mentally prepare for the possibility of taking snaps under center despite never being a starting quarterback at this level. Of course, the reality of Lane stepping into the role was complicated by another twist. He had suffered an injury earlier in the same game, rendering him unavailable at the very moment the team needed him most. Coach Quinn recounted the roller coaster of emotions that ensued. You can imagine my nervousness that took place after one's out and others there. And so, generally in that space, who's had experience taking snaps, handing it off, doing those things. So it was the third emergency into that spot last week. The contingency plan, which seemed almost comically convoluted to the casual observer, reflected the deep and often overlooked strategic planning NFL coaches must maintain, where every potential scenario is accounted for, no matter how unlikely it seems. It was a real-time example of adaptability, ingenuity, and a touch of desperation, all unfolding in the high-pressure theater of professional football. Meanwhile, fans and commentators were left piecing together the what-if moments, wondering aloud how far a team might go in an emergency situation. Would the Commanders have allowed a rookie receiver to take snaps over a veteran like Sam Hartman? The answer is no, as Hartman was not even on the active roster for the game and had not been elevated from the practice squad, rendering him unavailable. The chain of emergency options demonstrated both the fragility and resilience of an NFL roster facing multiple injuries at the most critical positions. Jeremy McNichols, the running back, eventually became the fallback option after Lane's injury, highlighting the importance of adaptability and the willingness of players to step into unfamiliar roles for the greater good of the team. As Quinn put it, so on the first punt of the game, when he's out, that plan changed. And so it became running back Jeremy McNichols. So there's always contingency planning. That actually went through my head after the first one. Okay, here we go. In that moment, fans got a rare glimpse into the mental calculations and split-second decisions that define coaching at the highest level, decisions that are rarely visible in the final box score or highlight reel. As the season has unfolded, Washington has faced a series of setbacks that would test the mettle of even the most prepared organizations. Injuries, unpredictable performances, and the ever-present uncertainty of the NFL combine to create an environment where chaos is always a possibility. And yet, amid the turbulence, the Commanders have managed to navigate these challenges without descending into outright disaster. The emergency quarterback scenario highlighted the need for depth, creativity, and resilience within a team, but it also shone a spotlight on individual courage, as players like Josh Johnson and Jeremy McNichols embraced responsibilities far beyond their usual roles. It is a testament to the human element of sports, where preparation, instinct, and courage intersect in unpredictable ways, sometimes resulting in moments that are remembered as much for their drama as for their athletic execution. In the world of professional football, these behind-the-scenes stories often provide a deeper appreciation for the intricate dance of strategy, talent, and split-second decision-making that fans witness on Sundays, but rarely understand fully until situations like this arise. Looking ahead, the Commanders are aware that the lessons from this game extend far beyond Week 16. With 2 games remaining in the season, the need for comprehensive contingency planning remains paramount. Even with Jeff Driscoll back in the mix, the coaching staff is clearly not willing to leave anything to chance, maintaining a secret emergency quarterback plan that underscores the unpredictability of football and the necessity of readiness in all scenarios. It is a vivid reminder that in a sport defined by physicality, speed, and precision, even the best-laid plans must account for the possibility of sudden, unforeseen disruption. Fans can expect that the lessons from this chaotic contest will inform practice, preparation, and game day decision-making as the team navigates the final stretch of a tumultuous season, seeking stability and success amid uncertainty. Dan Quinn and his staff have once again demonstrated that leadership in the NFL requires not only knowledge of X's and O's, but also an ability to adapt dynamically to circumstances that are, quite literally, off the charts. In the end, the saga of the Commanders' emergency quarterback scenario is both extraordinary and emblematic of the NFL's inherent unpredictability. It illustrates the resilience required from coaches, the readiness demanded of players, and the kind of split-second problem-solving that defines the league at its highest level. While the team managed to avoid a catastrophic situation, the narrative itself is a compelling glimpse into the challenges of professional football, a sport where talent, strategy, and adaptability collide in ways that can surprise even the most seasoned observers. From Marcus Mariota's unfortunate injury to the unexpected elevation of players like Josh Johnson and Jeremy McNichols, the story serves as a powerful reminder of why football captivates millions. It is as much about human ingenuity and courage as it is about athletic prowess. As the Commanders move forward, the lessons from this extraordinary game will remain, guiding their approach to preparation, decision-making, and the ever-present possibility that, in football, the unexpected is always just a snap away. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Big shockwaves are rattling through the nation's capital, and the NFL world is buzzing with whispers that could completely reshape the landscape of the Washington Commanders. Insiders are hinting at a seismic shift within the franchise, a roster overhaul so dramatic that it might be the most radical move we've seen in years. Sources claiming to have inside knowledge are suggesting that the organization is about to part ways with some of its marquee players, and the names that are circulating are nothing short of jaw-dropping. Deebo Samuel, one of the league's most explosive wide receivers, and Terry McLaurin, the steady and dynamic target Washington fans have relied upon for seasons, are reportedly on the chopping block. If these reports hold any truth, we are looking at a franchise that is ready to press the reset button in the most radical fashion. For months, the Commanders have been under scrutiny. Analysts, former players, and pundits alike have questioned the direction of the team's management, wondering whether the front office has been bold enough in constructing a roster capable of competing at the highest level. Rumors have swirled about tensions in the locker room, about strategies that don't align, and about a culture that perhaps needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. The reported releases of Samuel and McLaurin could signify a shift toward a new philosophy, one that prioritizes rebuilding around youth, draft capital, or even a complete reimagining of offensive identity. Washington fans should brace themselves for a roller coaster of emotions, because letting go of players who have delivered consistently is never an easy pill to swallow, especially when those players are central to the team's identity on the field. The whispers about the Commanders' impending moves began quietly, but have since grown louder, fueled by social media speculation and unnamed sources leaking bits of information. Conversations among insiders suggest that the organization has been assessing not just talent, but also contract situations, potential trade value, and the direction they want the team to take over the next several years. Deebo Samuel, a player known for his versatility, speed, and ability to change games in the blink of an eye, would be a monumental departure. His ability to line up both as a receiver and a running back, creating mismatches against defensive coordinators, has been one of the most exciting aspects of Washington's offense in recent times. Terry McLaurin, meanwhile, represents reliability, leadership, and a connection with the fans that cannot be easily quantified. His work ethic and playmaking have made him a cornerstone of the team, and his absence would leave a void both on and off the field. But beyond the star power, there's a broader narrative here. Washington appears to be signaling to the league that they are unafraid to make bold, perhaps even controversial, moves in pursuit of long-term success. The speculation is that the front office is not merely cutting players to save salary cap space, but is instead attempting to send a clear message. The era of comfort and incremental progress is over. There's talk that the team is aiming to build something entirely new, a roster that aligns with a vision of fast-paced offense, versatile playmakers, and perhaps a different identity on defense as well. The ripple effect of these rumored changes could be enormous, influencing not only the team's chemistry, but also the way fans, commentators, and rival teams perceive the Commanders. The potential departures of Samuel and McLaurin are also raising eyebrows in terms of strategy across the NFL. Speculation abounds about where these players might land, and how their respective skill sets could alter the fortunes of other franchises. Would a team looking for an instant offensive weapon jump at the chance to acquire Samuel's unique combination of speed and agility? Could McLaurin find a new home where his leadership and route-running acumen might provide a much-needed boost? These are the questions that will dominate discussions in the coming weeks. Agents, sports analysts, and rival executives are likely already circling, trying to decipher the motives behind Washington's moves and to anticipate the next domino to fall in this unfolding saga. Meanwhile, fans are grappling with a mixture of shock, disbelief, and cautious curiosity. Social media platforms have erupted with speculation, memes, and passionate debates about the wisdom of potentially releasing two of the most talented wide receivers in the league. Some argue that the Commanders are acting decisively, clearing the slate for a new chapter that could ultimately lead to greater success. Others fear that letting go of players who have proven themselves on the field might backfire, leaving a vacuum that cannot easily be filled through drafts or trades. Regardless of the outcome, one thing is certain. Washington is no longer a team content with incremental adjustments. The franchise appears ready to embrace a bold, high-stakes strategy, and the eyes of the NFL are now squarely fixed on the nation's capital. Sources hint that this roster shakeup could extend beyond just Samuel and McLaurin, with additional moves expected that might surprise even the most seasoned analysts. The speculation is that multiple positions could be affected, creating a ripple effect that alters the balance of power in the division and perhaps the league as a whole. Trades, free agent signings, and draft strategies are all reportedly under intense discussion behind closed doors, as the front office evaluates every possible scenario to optimize the roster for both present and future competitiveness. In short, the Commanders might be on the verge of a transformation so radical that fans will barely recognize the team they have cheered for in recent seasons. Of course, all of this remains speculative for now, but the sheer volume and consistency of the rumors are fueling widespread anticipation. Sports media outlets are abuzz with theories, predictions, and insider commentary, and it seems nearly everyone is waiting for official confirmation. Yet even in the absence of hard news, the mere possibility of such dramatic roster changes is enough to dominate headlines and ignite passionate debate. The NFL community is watching closely, understanding that Washington's next moves could influence trade markets, draft decisions, and even the strategies of rival franchises in a domino effect that reaches far beyond the team itself. In summary, the Washington Commanders appear poised on the edge of a potential revolution, one that could redefine the team's identity for years to come. The rumored departures of Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin are the tip of the iceberg in what might be a complete overhaul of the roster, signaling a bold, fearless approach by the front office. For fans, analysts, and the league at large, the unfolding story is both tantalizing and nerve-wracking. Will Washington emerge stronger, with a reimagined team ready to contend at the highest level, or will the risks of parting ways with proven talent prove too costly? Only time will tell, but for now, the speculation alone has captured the imagination of the entire NFL universe. One thing is for sure. The nation's capital is about to witness a chapter in football history that could be talked about for decades. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.